leaders lead to win. At Fearless Leaders, this evening, we bring you cross culture skills to improve your personal quotient. Fearless Leader tends to the huge global needs. We aim to impart value oriented life skills to that candidates that can take life head on confidently and fearlessly. Our specialized areas are schools, colleges, aspiring management trainees, and the corporate worlds too. We also aim to provide hand-holding sessions after the training to monitor the progress. Our vision is to make leadership a habit and to provide a one stop for all possible solutions to create a meaningful, successful journey as a professional to build a brand and finally lead to succeed. Self guided improvement and their expansion are presented through our customized programs. Our motto is simple: learn to lead with compassion, passion, and humility. Being updated and to be aware is a key essential of any leader. Our mission is to also increase happiness index of the leaders and their team so as to create and orchestrate meaningful ways to increase participation in the key functions in a healthier and happier way by empowering the forerunners of tomorrow, which will help them to become conscious leaders and passion driven professionals. Each session will be created in an interactive and activity oriented manner without adding any stress of assessments or monotonous monologues of the facilitators. We specialize in motivational and leadership skills, personality development, interview cracking, communication and interpersonal skills, lifestyle, values of life, and life issues. Adapt and take a stride to communicate, thus improving your personality with
ये इतना कोई खास नहीं
excellence.
है इसलिए मैंने आपको इसका लिंक नहीं
With this, we start on for the evening. We at Fearless Leaders, before we start, we at Fearless Leaders is a group of four very strong uh, facilitators and coaches. Two are ex-army officers, very senior position holders, General Anil Shukla and Colonel Shantonu Roy, and two academicians again who will handhold you to a long way. Today, we speak on cross culture. Cross culture personality development. Now, what are these cross culture personality development? It means we are emotional, physical, mental, and socially dependent. Now, all these things together form a personality. There came a time when you were required on this planet and hence you were sent. Let us be the best what we can be. Don't miss yourself and let not the others miss you. You are rare. By you, I mean we all. But you are rare. You are unique. You are a wonder. You are a masterpiece. Celebrate your uniqueness, says Ravi Shankarji. So, how does cultural affect our personal growth? Our personality, how do we improve our personality? These are some of the basic points. I'll just not go into much of details. Some basic points: to be a better listener, to be supportive of others, to be a good conversationalist, to have a positive outlook and attitude, have integrity, and treat people with respect. So, how does culture affect personal growth? Our culture greatly contributes to development of beliefs and values. Strength of personality traits varies greatly across the cultures. People who live in individualist cultures tend to value independence, competition, and personal achievement. Personality is what makes a person he or she often thought of as traits that define us and distinguish us from others. Now, talking of cultural competence, the cultural competence are mainly of under four major heads. That's a cultural awareness, cultural competence, cultural knowledge, and cultural sensitivity. Self awareness, cultural identity, heritage, adherence, ethnocentricity, stereotyping, and ethnohistory all form together as our cultural awareness. If we are not aware of these, then we are not aware of the cultural awareness. The cultural competence would only come through the assessment skills, the diagnostic skills, the clinical skills, challenging and addressing prejudice, discrimination, and inequalities. Cultural knowledge, how does it come? It comes through health, beliefs, and behavior, anthropological, socio political, psychological, and biological understanding, similarities and differences, health inequalities. And we get cultural sensitivity through empathy, appropriateness, interpersonal communications, trust, respect, acceptance, barrier to cultural sensitivities all come under one head, and that is the compassion courage. Now, how do we stay happy? A healthy body plus a healthy mind make us or give us a healthy and happy life. We all know that. We don't really get the qualities we like in our peers and the feelings of jealousy, of insecurity. The traits of individualistic cultures are uniqueness, autonomy, independence, and self sufficiency. To attain success in life, being ambitious is a requirement. But being ambitious is actually a subset of a personality only. That means the personality is basically a broader term in which everything about you, your looks, your attitude, your nature, your communication skills, your mental state, your daily habits, hard work, ambitions, discipline, confidence, all these come under one head. Now, how do you realize that or how do you feel that what sort of a personality you have? You can use this mind graph. You can go to the site of Mind Graph. It's a lovely free tool available online, and you can check your personality traits there and how to overcome the negative and the weaknesses. Rather, I won't say the negative, I would say the weaknesses, how you can make it into strength. It's all there with a detailed report. So it goes by the name as Mind Graph. Now, one thing we do at we are very the same hell bent on doing in at Fearless Leaders is we have curated the personal development program has as a four component program where you go in for a self discovery, you go in for a self development, a self mastery.
Anjana, sorry for interrupting. There are people waiting to be admitted. Please admit them.
Okay, one second. I'm sorry. I have admitted all of them. Sorry. Okay. So our programs specially or they typically begin with self-discovery, then evolve into the creation of a plan in which you want to set your goals for yourself. Through self-discovery and self goal setting, you will build the foundation upon which you will create your destiny. During self discovery, you will learn what makes you happy, what you value, what are your talents, and what you have to achieve in life. After you have discovered where you are, and what you want to achieve, you will create a plan to accomplish these goals. You continuously modify the plans as you develop your skills and receive the feedbacks. Mr. Abhishek, can I request you not to use the screen, please? By creating and accomplishing goals, you are able to measure and take pride in your achievements. The process of setting and accomplishing goals not only allows you to achieve more and improve your performance, but gives you a focus while building your self confidence and self esteem. This is what we have in our self development. Now, moving further, we go to
কিছু
your
অসুবিধা হচ্ছে?
we go to your adaptability. Now, how do how to develop adaptability skills? There are four major requirements or the skills for developing your adaptability skills. First, learn from others. So when you learn from others, as in the cases with learning, a whole range of critical things will come up, and you will jointly understand where you are and where what you want to achieve. Find the silver lining. Be willing to make mistakes and ask questions. So when you do this, you would be very happy and successful. So managing cultural differences are the six fundamental patterns of the cultural differences. And the six ones are the communication styles, attitude towards conflict, approaches to completing tasks, decision making styles, attitude towards disclosure, and approach to knowing. So, and what's hidden below that? Your beliefs, your values, your perceptions, your expectations, your attitudes, and your assumptions. So, this is what we call as how to manage cultural differences. Culture is basically all muddled up together. Many things are there when you talk of the word culture. We are all set into some mindset. We have been brought up in that way. So we have been framed. We have you start from anywhere. So we have been framed to be a leadership, and then to the community, then co-creating, agility, innovative, hope, trust, regulation.
Tasvir show na.
Shantanu, would I request you to mute everyone, not me? Rules, communication, and so on. You should embrace the challenges better. Being adaptable means working without boundaries and being open to finding diverse and unexpected solutions. You become, you have to think about things differently. You'll become,
Ma'am, can't listen your voice.
now can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Clear.
I think there's some people, someone in this thing, I'm trying to mute them. Shantanu, can you please mute them?
I'll do that.
Thank you, Shantanu. You will become a better leader. How? When you start thinking about things differently. So, great leaders know that change is inevitable, and they don't shy away from it. They also remain positive and face the adversities. You will always be relevant. People who are willing to change or shake up conventional ways of doing things will remain relevant throughout their working lives because they're comfortable experimenting. Now, just one small slide says a lot. When we meet someone outside, we either greet them as namaste, or we greet them as hi, hey, or we say in all different languages. These are that means, but the essence is the same. So this is what the culture differences also creates adaptability. That means the way you are. Outsiders come to India and they start using the style of Indian greetings, that is namaste. So this is how you learn from others, as in the case of learning, a whole range of not only this experimenting tools, learning to better navigate the changes and become adaptable is also done by others. This is something which I feel is called as the cultural tree. Now, why do we say that this is a cultural tree? Uh, each culture has two elements, seen and unseen. And I think that the culture is like a tree which contains two parts. The first part is the crown, in which it is seen. So, what is seen? The way the traditions are seen, the languages are seen, the religions are seen, food, dress, customs, behavior. For everywhere, every different culture, we can see that. And what is unseen are the beliefs, the thoughts, the values, the assumptions, the perceptions. These are all unseen. For example, if I say that people in Japan communicate in the Japanese language and their traditional dish is sushi, women wear obisash dresses, Shinto and Buddhism are Japan's two principal religions, and what is unseen is their culture, their belief, their their thoughts, and this saying that they throw salt over a person who attend, that is a religious thing they have, that is a belief they have, that they throw salt over a person who has attended the funeral before he enters the home. This we can't see, but that is a belief. Nobody has taught them. It has come to them from years, generations. So, with this, I'm reminded of a story out here at this point of time. The story goes like this. Once there was uh, there was somebody who had gone to the saying, a big senate, a big hall in the US to speak on something, and they said that like how many times have you connected or have you sat with your parents or with your children or with your friends and had a normal talk, had a normal conversation with. So the person who was saying this was none other than Swami Vivekanand. And out here, what the deep this thing impact was that it was the communication that matters a lot. Communication can be in the professionalism, communication within the family, communication within friends, communication within any two different, communication within self is also what matters. With this, I hand over the session now to Shantanu to take you ahead with the other part, how communication is important in our lives. Over to you, Shantanu.
Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody can see my video and everybody can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Before I go ahead, I'll request everybody to please mute yourself because background sounds. You ask a question, unmute and ask a question, no problem at all. But your background sounds does create a distraction, not for me, but for the other listeners. They get distracted, disturbed. They may miss out some value points which may be of use to you all. So going ahead, like Anjana mentioned, she spoke about personality and adaptability in relation to cross culture. Now, what is cross culture exactly? Anybody can answer what exactly is cross culture if you have understood or heard out what she has said. It is basically self development, or you can say it is development of a person. That is what exactly is cross culture all about. It has various life skill issues put together, shaken up, and put into a person so that he or she is a better person or moves ahead positively with adaptability, has resilience, and can make firm decisions and go ahead and gel well with everybody. So, professionalism, on which I'm going to dwell, is also one of the facets or aspects which get into the aspect or the one of the factors of cross culture. Now, all the 45 people in the webinar here, I'm sure everyone is a professional because whenever you are working, doing something, you are a professional. Even, let me put it that way, a lady of the house, the housewife or the homemaker, what we call, is a professional. Maybe she's not earning anything, but she is running the business of our family, which is the most important aspect of life. You may not be an IT professional, may not be an army officer, may not be in any of the fields, may not be a big engineer, but let me put it this way, that she holds the family together, running around after the kids, gelling with them, understanding their bad tempers and their vibes is also very important. So somebody can just, somebody called house trade, please mute yourself. So here sitting right in front of me, everybody is seemingly a professional. So what is being professional? Anybody, please tell me what exactly are the requirements for being a professional? Anybody can put it on the chat box or unmute and just tell me. Professionalism, now I'll just put it in a few words, is nothing but to know your job well. That is what is being a professional. There are levels of being a professional, maybe unskilled, skilled, semi-skilled, or whatever it is. So professionalism is basically knowing your job well. So the first aspect of being a professional is basically to know your job well. In any field that you are there, you have to learn, read, and read so that you know the nuances of the business that you're doing very well. For that, all of us undergo a lot of courses, do degrees, get certifications, so that when you prepare a resume, put it across to people, he sees a long list of certifications, knows that yes, the chap that I'm hiring, the person that I'm hiring knows these skills. So that is what is basically professionalism is all about. The definition of professionalism as per the dictionary is a person should imbibe himself a set of values and also upgrade his personality and know the work that he is going to do. That is what is the dictionary meaning of professionalism. Now, what are the elements of professionalism? The elements or the characteristics of professionalism is basically you must know your job well, have good knowledge about it, so that your team or the people under you or the subordinates cannot make a fool out of you. You can look into their eyes and tell them कि बेटा इसको ऐसे करना है, ये तरीका है, so that he is clear that his boss knows his job, knows the subject, and also you can talk with authority with your seniors. If you're asked for an idea, if you're asked for certain aspects, you just can say, so this is the problem and this is the solution, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how it is to be done. This is how, what are my recommendations, sir? Rest is up to you. You are the boss. Please select the best. But I will suggest this is the recommended one. Your superior knows that this gentleman or gentle lady knows his or her job and just selects yes. So for that, you have to know, learn, read. That is the main mudda, or the main mantra of being a professional. The other ones, when you're leading a team, when you're a professional, you'll have a team under you. Maybe it's 1 person, 2 person, 3 person. So you have to be able to make timely decisions. A decision can be right or wrong, material, but make a decision. Do not keep your team hanging. If your team is left hanging, you cannot be called a firm leader or a thorough professional. The team will not look up to you. Your subordinates will say, this chap, usko kuch batao, so he just doesn't move. And they may take their own decisions or go to your superior, but you are left out of the channel. Then another main aspect of professionalism is basically you should be able to communicate. After I finish with professionalism, I will just talk a little about communication and its skills, because communicating with everybody is one of the most important aspects of being a professional, of being a good leader, and of being able to motivate your team. If you can communicate well with your superiors, with your colleagues, with your subordinates, I am sure you will be able to lead a very well geared and well oiled team. Because if you are communicating through all your senses, you are also able to receive their signals, gain whatever knowledge or points they are giving, think analytically within your mind, and give them the correct decision. So, communication is one of the most important aspects. That is why, whenever there is a problem or anything, they always say, walk up to the person, face him or her up front, talk it out, or pick up the phone, talk it out. That is basically communicating. You are not leaving a gap, a communication gap. Whenever you are rigid, unadaptable, you tend to create a gap or a chasm between you and the other person. That is where misunderstandings creep in. That is where things start going wrong. Then, for being a professional, to learn more, you have to be self motivated. If you are self motivated, yes, you can have the thing inside you. If it comes from your heart that, yes, I can do it, yes, everything is possible. Even impossible says, I am possible. So, being motivated is one of the main aspects for being professional, because the thing has to come from within you. I have to learn, I have to do this, I have to go up. That is how you can keep working. You have to work beyond the call of duty. You have to be an organization man. You should be there when the organization needs you. You should be able to gel with everybody. The people around you, be it your superiors, your subordinates, should feel that yes, if we go to this man or we call him or give him a task, he will just do it and the work will be done. Then another aspect is being adaptable. Your mind should not be rigid. You should have your thoughts which should flow. There should be flexibility in your mind. If you know you've done a wrong or your decision is wrong, be upfront enough, be strong enough. Just say, yes, sir, this is wrong. And this is the way I think should be done now, if you permit. Or to your team, you can say, let's do it this way. If they agree, move ahead. Be flexible, do not stop. Because the moment you stagnate, like stagnant water, you will start breeding mosquitoes. Your mind will be a mess of cobwebs. You'll start rusting. So be flexible, be open to thoughts, think out of the box. And the more you read, more knowledge you have, you'll be able to take better decisions, move out, and grow in this world. Then, if you are a professional, you should be able to take on responsibilities. You can't say, I'm going up in the ladder of promotions, but I don't want to take on any responsibilities. No. The more you grow, the more your shoulders become heavy. The sword dangles more on your head. Yes, you do get privileges also, but then the responsibilities are much more. You should not weigh the responsibilities with the privileges, because privileges are minor. Your workload increases. That sometimes you start feeling that wish the day was for 48 hours, but no, you will have to time manage. So here comes time management for a good professional. You should be able to prioritize, know the art of prioritization. If you can prioritize, because everything cannot be priority uno. There has to be one, two, three, four, five. So think out in your mind which are the most urgent tasks. Do them. Then you should know also how to decentralize. अगर सब कुछ मैंने ही करना है, then why is the team there? Then why are so many professionals being hired? So every man is cut out for a task. Every man has been hired for a task. So let them carry on. Let them do their own task. And having a positive attitude to everything, be it the factor of decision making, be it the aspect of adaptability, be it your communication, be positive, gel well with your team, mix with the men or the team, like in the armed forces. We are leading our people to death in a battle. So you have to be self motivated, you have to lead from the front. If you tell your men, Yar jao, go ahead, I'm following up. Sorry, that is not the way. If you lead, you have to lead by example. In a battle charge, in any of the movies that you see, or real life, yes, we have seen it. So you have to lead up front. And it is not only army. If you know your work, if you touch a thing and do it, your team will already be impressed with you. They will know that this man is there for them. And also, you have to be very compassionate towards your people. Because when you are compassionate and open to their problems, you give them a patient hearing. It is possible that all the problems of the people may not be solved by you. But then, if you are listening, recepting their thoughts or their problems, you may give a solution which may work out for him or her. So that is how you have to think, mix with them. Then the most important thing is you must always take a feedback of whatever you are doing. Ask your people or your subordinates or your colleagues time to time about how the task that you've done has been completed. Could there have been a better way? Because when you are open, you're not autocratic or monarchical, you will always see that there are ideas which come up and which may be better than what you have thought. It is not that the first thought is always the best thought. The most discussed thought is the best thought. When there is a coalition of all the ideas and the best path is given out. So talk, take feedbacks, gel with them, talk, move, communicate. And if you can lead your team, you are a thorough professional. Now, after having spoken so much about the characteristics of being a professional, remember, like I said, Anjana was also saying, your personality also has to stand out. And for that, only your behavior and also, let me put across your dressing sense. If you're going to office, you can't go in a torn jean and a flip flop. You have to be dressed properly for the occasion. Like again, I'm giving example of the armed forces, you have dresses for each occasion so that you are properly dressed. And in the army, they say, if you don't know which dress to put on the uniform and go there, you'll be properly dressed. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. You have to be properly dressed for the occasion. For a lady, it may be a formal suit or a sari or maybe a very good, decent salwar. For a gentleman, again a suit or an open collar shirt. Generally, if you are a good professional in a corporate or in any multinational, jeans and chappals are not the order of the day. You should be dressed immaculately. When you walk into a room, your charisma should flow out of the dressing sense that you have. And above everything is your behavior. Your behavior has to be perfect. Your words that you speak have to give out knowledge. So if you speak more, if you've got verbal diarrhea, nobody is going to listen to you. But if you speak less, you should speak sense and everybody will hear. I will just give you a little story here. There was a monastery, monastery where there was a monk who was allowed to speak two words every year. So what happens the first year, the head monk calls him up, says, yes, what do you have to say? He says, bed often. Fine. The head monk says, okay, go back. Second year, he says, food not good. Third year, again, the head monk calls him, says, you got something to say? Place not good, leaving. So what happened? The head monk saw that he was complaining. There was something wrong. He was heard, though this monk left, but it went into the head monk's this thing that there is something wrong with the monastery. So if you talk too much in paragraphs and in pages, nobody will listen to you, or it may be all jargon for the choir. If you speak in short, that is why they say whenever you write, whenever you talk, speak short sentences. Don't use ands and ises and ats in between to connect your sentences and make it long. The essence and the meaning of the sentence gets lost out. Speak in short sentences so that the person in front stays interested in what you're talking and understands what you are trying to tell, what you're trying to convey. Now, a little story again about professionalism is in Singapore, if you go, there are taxi drivers who are a pain in the neck, I would say. But then, a little story which happened with me a couple of years back. I had to go to a certain place. This chap, when I landed the place, he lost the way and took me after about 15, 20 minutes to the place. And when I saw on the meter, he says it's about $10. I said, but your meter says $13. He said, no, sir. I lost the way because to be straight, it was my mistake. I am the ambassador of Singapore. So I cannot take that $3 extra from you. It is my mistake. I know that any other taxi driver would have happily taken it. So this thought has been there in my mind because he was professional. There is a WhatsApp floating around again about another auto driver in Chennai whose auto, he has done it up with Wi-Fi, newspaper, and other gadgetries of things which can keep the passenger amused. And then, like Kingfisher, he also says, they are not passengers for me, they are my guests, they are my family members because they are giving me my money to eat my dinner and my lunch. So that is what is professionalism. He may not be a big professional in the corporate, but he has understood the mantra of being a professional for the job that he's doing. He may be a taxi driver, maybe an auto driver, but he is doing it well so that for him, the customer is king. People will remember him, they will talk about him. So that is what is professionalism. I will just dwell on the various types of professionalism or being a professional. They are basically ethical. Ethical is the one who's truthful, honest, and is not the one who will pull somebody else down to go up. So that is what is the ethical way of being a professional. Then is the altruistic. He is respectful, unselfish, and thinks about other, doesn't think about himself. They are basically various types of professionals. So everybody may be a mix and match also, or somebody may be just one of these types. Then is the responsible type of a professional who takes on all the onuses on him, goes out of the way, is committed. And then one of the big aspects for everything that your senior says or your subordinate says, you don't have to be a yes man. This man thinks over, has a spine, says no, which is a big thing. If a wrong is happening, he should stand up and say, sir, this is not the correct way. Let's do it this way. This aspect is not there in many of us, which is a must. Then is the theoretical one, who is only retrospecting, reading, and working out ways and means of doing it, but lacking a little in practicality. This happens, yes, when we are too well read also, but may not be having ground knowledge. But then he's not a bad professional. Yes, he can be corrected, but then he has the knowledge which should be used in the correct way. His appreciations of any problem should be taken up and then joined up with the practicality of the problem and then worked out accordingly. And then is the committed type of professionals who go beyond the call of duty. They are there for the organization, be it night, day, rain, snow. This gentleman or gentle lady is there and will always be working for betterment of the, yes, every professional is working for the betterment of the organization, but this man walks that extra mile to be there for the organization. And then is the intellectual type of professionals who are very, very well read, thinks, analyzing. And this is the person who is well read also and not theoretical just. He has practical knowledge, analyzes the problem, reaches out to the people, and retrospects on what has been done and what is to be done. So these are the various type of professionals. I won't say that this type is bad or that type is good. These are basically styles as per your learning, as per your imbibings. You may be working in one of the types, but we should always try to take the best. Always create a role model in the field of your working and try to evaluate that person. You will be a better professional, better person. Now, before I end up, I will speak on communication. What is communication exactly? I will just show you a few slides. A few weeks back, we had a webinar on communication skills in which me, Anjana, and our team spoke a lot about communication. So if you communicate well, the world will listen to you. And if you speak less and speak sense, They will take action on your words. But I'll tell you one more little example of a person whom I want to remember, and I respect that person. He's no more today. He's one Colonel Mahajan, and he would have gone. He's an army officer. He was an army officer today. God bless his soul. He's no more. He had verbal diarrhea. He used to speak a lot, but then every word of his was pearls of wisdom. The only man till date I have seen who had verbal diarrhea but spoke sense and sense only. There was no nonsense in what he spoke. If he was there, he would have risen up the ladder, but I think God had other plans for him. So we have to communicate in the correct aspect. Like I said, again, English is a very funny language. So when you speak in a language also, you have to master it. Like CUT can be cut, UT can be put, RAT can be rat, and so on and on. So we have to know the language, know the pronunciations of how to communicate. Basically, when you are communicating, you are communicating your ideas and your information that you have, the knowledge that you have learned. That is why it is always said that a person more well read will be a better talker or will be able to speak out better than a illiterate person who can only shout out his ideas or his thoughts to force it down upon you. So if you learn, if you read, if you know, you can share your experiences, share your knowledge in a much better way. Then you can communicate through all your five senses, and they are hearing, feeling, seeing, smelling. All your five senses can communicate. That is basically your body language. You don't only communicate through your tongue. Your body also gives out messages. So that is called non-verbal communication, which I will just touch upon after this as I go through my slides. So basically, communication is the transmission of an idea or feeling so that the sender and the receiver share the same understanding. So that what I have tried to tell you has been received by you in the correct perspective and you understand it correctly. I hope I am able to communicate what I am trying, or I am just talking all rot and rubbish. I hope my transmission of ideas are in the correct perspective. Anybody can just unmute and say yes or no. I think I'm not
Yes, sir.
transmitting my
Obviously, sir.
idea.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Obviously.
you.
Yes, please, sir. Yes, please,
Thank
sir.
you.
And
I
very
thought
beautifully.
I am not transmitting my ideas correctly. So it is not a mysterious process like it says. It is between the ideas of two minds, the sender and the receiver. It's a two-way process. Talking and receiving. And in that, there are many factors, like the generation gap. I have a misunderstanding with my sons. They think that I am outdated, and I think their fundas in life are all cockeyed. They are correct in today's perspective, but me being old time, a conventional cultural differences, noise is a physical barrier. Because of that, I may not be able to, or somebody speaking may not be able to be heard. And then hearing problems and all these are physical, and language again. That's why I say if you are speaking to a community or a person, your language should not be a barrier. You should be able to master the language. Pronunciation. Let's not ape the West and try to get an accent unnecessarily. You are Indian, be proud of it. See the Germans and the Russians. When they go out, they speak in their language. They don't ape the West. They don't try to learn English. and try to say yes sir, no sir, thank you sir. That's not the way. Let's speak in Hindi. That's our mother tongue. That's our national language. Be proud of it and speak it correctly. Too much of Shuddh Hindi is also not okay, but in the generic term, जिसमें हम बात करते हैं. Like I'm telling you, I keep taking webinars. My son, who's a marketing this thing, settled abroad, he says, Papa, why do you speak only in English? Send out your videos and your webinars also in Hindi. I found sense in that because all of us need not be skilled out in English. Hindi is our mother tongue. I should be speaking also. That's why I'm practicing that also, so that I can also talk in a mixed thing of English, what is called, or something like that. Then what you hear and what you send out, and your body or your modulation of the voice also gives out various kind of, you can say, signals which are important for the transmission of the message that is going. Your facial expression, your dressing, your posture, your eye contact, your touch, everything, your body language, your modulation, your face, the color of the face, blushing, getting red, is all basically the communication equation between the sender and the receiver. Like I was just mentioning, there are two types of communication, the verbal and the non-verbal. And communication can be one way, two way, or one to many. One to many is when it's in a conference, people are sitting out and somebody is speaking and people are the feedback is being taken and there is a communication going on. The easier ways of communicating are the spoken, you have the presentations like I am doing, the body language, then too much of shaking your hands like I'm just now doing, so that I'm gesticulating to make you understand something is also wrong at times. And then is your written skills. And for communicating, gentlemen and ladies, only speaking doesn't make sense. You have to be a good listener. God has not given you only one mouth. He has given you 2 ears also, or it would have been vice versa. So you have to listen also. When somebody is speaking, listen through the complete dialogue that he speaks out. Let him finish. Then you give out your idea. It should be in turn, or it will be noise, or both the things will not go and they will collide in between and there will be all chaos. Neither the person in front understands what he says, neither have I understood what the person in front has said. So it has to be a smooth flow. So listening is one of the main aspects of communication which we lack. We think that communication means कि मैंने बोल दिया, बंदे ने समझ लिया, and that is the end. No. Speaking and listening both are two facets of communication, and they both combine together to make it effective communication. So basically, when you are listening, it has to be when what you hear, you have to understand, interpret it in the correct sense, evaluate it, and then respond. So it's a cycle going on in your brain. So you have heard what the person said, interpreted, and then responded after evaluation. So that is what is called good listening skills. And when you have interpreted and understood what the person has to say, then you can ask proper questions for clarification. That means you have understood what the person has said. So for effective listening, you must focus onto the speaker, avoid interrupting him, and show interest. Your ears should be for the person in front. And hearing and listening are two, you can say, processes happening at the same time. And let me put it very blatantly, most of us are bad listeners, at least I am. I like to speak, I like people to listen, but then when it comes to my turn of listening, generally I keep talking. So that is that. Coming to non-verbal communication is basically your body language, postures, body movement, tone of your voice. Tone of your voice is very important. The moment it starts rising up and raising, you know that you are getting angry or you are getting flustered. I'll just give you a small little example. In the SPG, there are the special protection people who are there to look after the Prime Minister and the senior people. They are taught that they should not react because they come across a lot of high powered people, politicians, who may try to put pressure on these gentlemen who have to be firm. Because if they react or try to communicate in a wrong sense, the message goes down and the person may be taken in the wrong way. So they are taught not to react. They do not put up any facial expressions. They do not react with any of way. They don't even communicate or open their mouth to speak anything. They just listen out and stick to their rule because that is their duty. Because if they deviate from the process, they do not have an iota of being flexible in their rule positions because it affects the life of the important person that they are guarding. Then, for communication, you have to be some of the tips and to improve verbal communication. We must speak without noise, get a feedback, speak slowly, speak deliberately, speak with the correct pronunciation. Like I will just tell you a small example again, which I had given in the previous webinar. When I was teaching, I was an instructor in the army also. One of the students from a place slightly जिनका English में हाथ तंग था, I won't name the state. So he bent down to pick up something. So I was thick into the thing of teaching. बड़ा बहुत अच्छा instructor था तो suddenly I asked, "Yes, cadet, what are you doing?" He says, "Sir, I'm trying to counter my ship." I said, "What the hell are you doing? Get up and ready, start rolling." He looks at me and again bends down to pick up something and says, "Sir, I found my ship." I said, "Yeah, by now you would have been rolling." Because he meant sheep. So the pronunciation is very important. And don't talk down the other person. This is a very bad habit in me. And I get ticked off for it, but then I'm trying to correct it and listen carefully and patiently. Then your personal presentation, how you talk out, how you dress out also. Communication is not just speaking. Like professionalism, dressing sense, like Anjana mentioned, it enhances your personality. It enhances your communication. It takes up your professionalism by notches and improve your body language. Maintain eye contact. Do not be grumpy and smile genuinely, not plastic smiles. Then we'll not go into emotional awareness because this is also improves effective communication. But then this is a topic by itself. I just wanted to touch through it because when you're not communicating well or you're communicating your emotions also are one of the aspects. It requires your thoughts, it requires your feelings, and it improves your communication by notches. So effective communication opens up. That is why people say pick up the phone. and pick up or talk up to the person. Public relations will assist in quicker problem solving, better decision making, better workflow, and improve your own image and your relations. So, these are basically some of the ways of effectively communicating and the features of effective communication. And communication has various barriers which are given out here. Can be distance, noise, understanding, language, time, you may be in a hurry, and other things. Then use of jargons, speaking long, all of them make out basically good communication if you overcome the barriers and speak short, speak with the correct pronunciation, and speak with knowledge above all, will create lot of better understanding between people, and you will be more successful. So I have just concluded on what was personality development, then on to professionalism and communication, which is one of the most important aspects in professionalism and also in enhancing your personality, and in turn being adaptable is also very important. So with this I conclude whatever little bit of knowledge that I had, and anybody having any questions on this, me and Anjana would be here to answer the questions to your satisfaction. And in the meantime, that you all have heard us out, please fill up the form which is there on the group. And after that, I would like to give a small presentation of our workshop that we're going to conduct from the 7th to 11th. And there is an offer on that. After the question hour session, before we sign out, I will just give you the link and the ways to join it. And this is not one of the last webinars. The webinars will keep conducting. I will request everybody to stay on the group, and the information will be shared on that itself. Any questions, please? Either we did speak well, or we spoke so well that everything was understood by everybody. There can
Yes.
only be two aspects, either ispar or uspar.
There is someone, Mr. Seth.
Anjana, your
Mr. Seth K. He's, sir, please teach us military principles also. Chance, that's
fine.
for you.
I think my mentor, Jan Shukla, is also here. I think he is the best person for that. He is my senior, and I look up towards it with a lot of respect. Sir, some answer to that, sir? Somebody has wanted some teachings on military principles.
Please, Del Shukla, could we have you on, please?
Yeah, I'll not switch on the video at present, but I'll try and answer this question. You see, the military principles of war are a little complicated, and it would require a little time for you to understand, but I'll give you some basics one. One is the military principle of war, or the principles of war, as they say, is maintenance of momentum. Okay, that is maintenance of momentum is in normal terms. I'll explain to you what it is. It means determination, and perseverance. We call it maintenance of momentum because once we start a war and we are going into the enemy, we are going after the enemy, we cannot take a halt which will break our momentum, because if we do that, we are going to allow the enemy to recoup or rethink and reassess the situation and prepare for us. So we don't want to give them any time for that. And therefore, maintenance of momentum is one of the very basic, primary, and important rule for the military in the army context. The next one I would say is the maintenance of aim also. One is momentum, one is the aim. Once you've decided that we are going to do a particular thing, that aim has to be understood by everyone. We have to chalk out the strategy which we are going to use, or the strategy which we are going to use. We plan it out, we discuss amongst ourselves, and once we have made the plans, everything is in a clockwork fashion. So maintenance of aim and maintenance of momentum become, complementary to each other, and that is how we work. The third one, which I would like to tell you, is the flexibility. You see, in war, nothing goes as planned. Moment you make plans, once the first bullet is fired, the plans go, they change, they go awry. You have to modify. So unless you have the flexibility, that means you have that kind of a brain or that kind of a thinking or that kind of a mentality where you can put your resources, re-designate your resources, realign your resources, take preventive measures of what enemy is doing, and then continue with that pursuance of aim, then only you can achieve success in war. So that is another principle of war which is very, very important. Flexibility is very, very important. So these are the three primary principles I have told you. Then is the use of resources and innovation. I'll give you an example. Second World War, when General Field Marshal Slim came to India, Burma was, Japanese were almost reaching our particular place now as Assam. They were almost going to reach there, all right, from Arunachal side. So that was the stage when Field Marshal Slim was brought in, and he has written a very, very, very good book, which is called as Defeat into Victory. And that is a wonderful book to read because how he turned the table. And he did it by all these principles which I'm telling you now. And innovation was one of the most important. What happened was, till date, there is only one road which takes you from Tejpur, Assam, to Tawang, which is in Arunachal Pradesh. There's only one road. Even today, there's only one road. Only thing is, it has become a little wider and it has become metal road now. So there is an improvement in it. But during that time, it used to be a kacha track. Okay, and it was prone to landslide. Even today, it is prone to landslides. And it used to get, and that is the only lifeline for the troops in that area. What happened is, Japanese realized it. So they used to come and, with their aircraft, they used to bombard this road so that if this road is rendered unserviceable, then we would not be able to move the war machinery into the area. And therefore, they wanted to defeat us. Now, Slim knew that this is their aim, and any repair work used to take a lot of time. So he came up with a very innovative idea. What he did was, he picked up the clay which dries up very, very quickly, and he picked up the jute because Assam is famous for jute. So he picked up the jute cloth from there, and what he used to do was he used to fill it up with that clay and put the jute cloth on top, which used to give a strength to that filled up holes with a bomb, which were made by the bomb, and therefore the period for which the road remained unserviceable was reduced to very, very little time, and therefore he was able to move the stall and he defeated them. So that is what I'm trying to say. Innovative mind, and we call when we are in today's world, it is known as creative thinking. I will give you the the parallels of it in the civil world also. What is creative thinking? It is basically finding solutions to the problems which have not been found earlier, not going by the orthodox solution. And if you see today, in India or all over the world, all startups are starting. What are they? They're nothing else but a new way of looking at things. That is why they are successful. So that is another principle of war which I could tell you. There are many more, but I think we'll restrict it today to this. And whenever we get an opportunity next time, I will definitely go into the details and I'll give you so many examples that you will find it very, very interesting. And we have been doing it. Army is one of the best places for creative thinking because we have to find solutions in adverse conditions and we do not have resources, but we have to find the thing. I'll give you another very good example of creative thinking plus initiative plus whatever you can say. There is a post which is called as Nangi Tekri. It is called Nangi Tekri because it doesn't have any trees or no vegetation on it. It is bang on the line of control. It is in Punch sector of India. This is a post which we have captured from Pakistanis in 71. It used to be known earlier as Khaki Post, Khaki Tekri. Pakistanis called it Khaki Tekri. Now, what happened was that was the main post, and it had another very important small places adjoining this hill, which were also to be captured, and one of them was called as Bump 1. And it was just about, Pakistanis had about 12 to 14 soldiers on that. While you may say 12 to 14 is nothing, but in mountains, let me tell you, 12 to 14 is a very, very reckonable force to fight with. And if you remember, Battle of Razangla, only 120 troops of India, that is Kumaon Battalion, they brought down 1,300 Chinese soldiers in present Galwan Valley. There's a post known as Razangla. There's a Battle of Razangla. You can go and search it. One of the most fiercest and one of the most deadliest battles. So that is the strength of very few people in mountains. They can multiply because they have a lot of defensive potential. So when this was to be captured, a company of Punjab, which was about 120 bodies, were tasked to do this. Now, before we launch an attack, just before launching an attack, we come to a place which is called as Former Place, and from there we launch the attack. That is about 200 meters or 300 meters short of the actual objective. So, when this 120 people started in the night, they had to go down and then climb up, and there was a nala in between. So when they reached the forming up place, the JCO realized there was a company commander, but on the former place only one JCO and 30 men reached. They realized that the other two platoons and the company headquarters had lost their way and they were not able to reach there. But they were bang under the fire of the enemy. So now this JCO, he had, what option did he have? To abandon the attack and come back, or to go in for an attack? He was a smart one. And if I don't know how many of you understand Punjabi, but he used Punjabi. And you see, a platoon is a platoon, and company is called in infantry. Companies are called Alpha Company, Bravo Company, Charlie Company, and Delta Company. Now these are the four companies, and a company has 120, whereas a platoon has about 30 people. So he was a smart guy. He realized that we have to launch an attack. So he told his troops very loudly, Alpha Company Sajyon. That means Alpha Company to launch attack from the right. Bravo Company Khabyon. That means Bravo Company to launch attack from the left side. Charlie Company Mere Naal, Delta Company Reserve. That means he spoke so loudly and he made the Pakistanis believe that instead of just 30 men, almost about 1,000 people are coming to attack. And you know what was the result? When they reached the objective, Pakistanis had abandoned the post and ran away. So that is what I'm trying to tell you, that this is what is flexibility, initiative, for creative thinking. So I'll leave you with this thought. Next time we'll tell you some more stories, and those will be educational, I assure you, and you will love them. We'll do that. And I'll hand you over back to Shantanu or the hosts, and thank you for being patient to listen to me. And I hope I could give you some idea about the principles of war.
Thank you
That is
very much,
why
sir.
I look. That is why I look up upon General Shukla as my mentor. He is very clear in his thoughts, and all this he spoke impromptu. And I would like to say a few good words. He's the one who is into interview cracking. He's been a psychologist. He's been SSB, the Service Selection Board for the Army, which was one of the toughest interviews in the so-called parlance. And he has been heading that for quite some time before he retired. So he is one of our mentors for interview cracking also, and he can give you very good insights into that. There was a question by Amit Anand that how do we communicate with South Indians and they're very difficult to understand. I am sorry to say, Amit, there is nothing called North India, South India. It is only India. Number one, and I don't think it is very difficult to communicate with a South Indian because we feel it difficult because we don't know their language. Like I said, communication language is one of the barriers. Now they will say, "हम North Indian के साथ communicate नहीं कर पाते because they don't know our language." So communicating with South Indians, we have got in the armed forces. Like Sir will agree with me. We have got people from all aspects or all facets of the country, and they gel well. Am I right, sir? Because there is no South India and North India. You will not believe in a Gurkha Paltan or a Gurkha regiment.
Okay.
The South officer from.
If you
Sir.
permit me to say that. Now,
Yes, sir, please, sir.
Yeah. This is a question which is often asked. It is not the first time it has been asked. I have been asked this question a number of times. Language definitely is a barrier in communication. I agree to that. But now, let me just ask you guys: how many of you have pet dogs or pets in your home? And how do they convey a message to you? They don't speak. Do they speak? They convey everything to you. I have a pet. She conveys everything when she wants
Anjana,
to
let
food, when
Bidushi
she
in.
wants to go out.
Let Bidushi in.
Can you hear? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So the point is.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
And I'll now let you know one thing. In this world, only 7% of the communication is verbal. 38% is your gestures and 55% is non-verbal communication. So, when you communicate with somebody, it is not by words. You communicate, as Shantanu had brought out, and I didn't hear the first part, but Shantanu was telling to you that it is the body language which matters. You sometimes, I'll give you another example. You're talking about speaking. Suppose you all must have been, I don't know what is the age group, but suppose when we were kids, when we used to come home, suppose your parents said that you can come back by 10 o'clock if you're going out. And you came back at about 12 because you carried away in a party and with your friends. So what do you expect when you ring the bell? You expect when the mother opens the door or father opens the door, you're going to get a dressing down, isn't it? But what happens is they refuse to even talk to you. They just open the door and they walk back to their room silently. They don't even say a word to you. Are you more uncomfortable then, or are you more uncomfortable when you're happier in case they tell you something? Tell me one thing. All of you would be very uncomfortable till such time they scold you. So non-verbal communication is very powerful. So when you're talking to South Indians and all, firstly, interpersonal skills also come into play when you are communicating. How warm are you? How friendly are you? Are you giving a smile? Are you talking to them in a frown? Nobody will listen to you if you're talking with a frown, would they? So there are many other ways of communicating and overcoming this language barrier. All right. Today only I saw a video. There are two elephants one of the elephant rider, Mahan, he got onto a elephant which was not his own. The other elephant was so angry, he came and made sure that he got down from the other elephant and came to him. How did he communicate? By body language. He can't talk. So that is how I can, make you understand this thing. These are barriers, but we have to overcome them with many, many other things in life and the way you conduct yourself. I hope I have been able to answer your question. Okay. Anything else?
Anybody, any other questions? Anybody, any questions? Sir, I think then we can sign out if nobody has a question. Sir, before that, I would like to just give out about another of our program, which is the essence of leadership, which will be starting from the 7th of February to the 11th of February. This is a course for 5 days in which even General Shukla will be talking about leadership, motivation, and other aspects. And this is a course of 5 days, which will be at your convenience. The timing will be of your selection, and the course will be on every day from 7th to 11th. And the course is just for 1,999 with a 50% discount for the first 50 people. And we will covering these aspects of resilience, communication, motivation, adaptability, time management, mindset, and how to avoid burnout. Basically, as a leader, you should not get burnt out. You should be there for your team. So these are the factors which we will be covering in these 5 days. And for the 50% discount, I will request the first people can grab the offer on the link which is given, and you get the discount and you can spread the word. And I'm sure you people must have liked what we spoke and give us an opportunity to give you a proper grooming onto your further success story that you're going to create. This thing will be on the group, spread it around, and let us hope you benefit from us. And
Shantanu,
with this,
there's this
yes,
person, Ishfaq Chaudhary. He had raised his
okay,
hand and then he got dropped off. He's rejoined. He had a question to ask. I
yes.
his Ishfaq Chaudhary.
Ashwak, could you just unmute and speak out what
He
is your
had raised his
requirement?
hand earlier, and then he got somehow he got dropped out, and now he's rejoined. So he had a question. That's what I guess.
What is the
Yeah,
question?
hello.
Yes, Ashwak.
Yes, actually, I'm from Kashmir, so here we have lot of distraction in internet facility.
Okay.
I was trying to join again, but couldn't make this possible for a few
Could
minutes.
we have your video on, Ishfaq, so that we also get to see the Switzerland of India? You are on a
Okay.
shikara right now?
No, I'm inside my room.
Okay.
Yes,
Oh, shikara Dalek is frozen now.
you are most welcome. In fact, everybody is most welcome
Thank you,
to
Thank
Ishfaq.
you.
this beautiful
Ashwak, on
place.
with the question.
I actually raised hand just to convey that the sir has actually used a word regarding are we all is par ya us par. I think he wants to reflect that either everybody has got all the understanding or nobody has got anything. So
Yes.
I have raised the hand. I have raised my hand just to convey that we are ispar. We
Okay.
got it very much,
Thank you.
with
So grateful,
understanding
Ashwak.
and I think with the way, like the sir has told, there is a difference between hearing and listening. So we were in fact listening to this, not just hearing.
So nice. So at least I was able to communicate effectively whatever I wanted to say, and you all have been very patient listeners. Thank you,
Thank you.
Ishfaq.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll request everybody not to go out of the group that is there, because we'll be carrying on with our other webinars also, and the paid one will be proper certified by the coaches, and Jal Shukla will also be there. And I can vouch for it that his aspects which he'll be talking will be with his personal experiences, and also Anjana will be talking on these. Sir, Shukla sir, can we all sign out, sir, with your permission?
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. And good night. And I wish everybody a very safe future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan Shukla.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody,
everybody,
for being
and
there with
stay
us.
signed in to the group.
And do join the program. You would be, definitely benefited for it. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.